Thank you for staying tuned to us on Daybreak Live today. Of course, something quite important also is making the rounds, and that's talking about Trendwatch today. What we have on Trendwatch is Efcc moves 3 alleged vote buyers in Anambra Governorship Election to Enugu. That's the big story on the Trendwatch today, because there's always a big story across everywhere. So the big story now is that Efcc is moving 3 alleged vote buyers in Anambra Governorship Election to Enugu. So the question has been that why the movement? I mean, that would be the the no-brainer, easy to get knee-jerk reaction or question to that, to say, why are they moving them? To where? To do what? Exactly why? And all of the whys. So, Oluwayemi, this is the case of vote buying. This is not the first time we're seeing this in the country. We've also seen this in many elections. There were alleged case of vote buying, even in this last election on Saturday. How that they said some persons, in fact, we have some of the pictures of those people with money. But the question is, if you get the person that is paying the money, you should also get the person that is sponsoring those people, because these monies just don't get out of the dust. You just say you just saw the money on the ground and then you want to give people. It was actually bankrolled by somebody in the political space. So who exactly should be accountable? Not just these guys. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. But what do you make of this? Okay,
I think I have issues with the fact that at a point INEC said there were no cases of vote buying. So I'm shocked to see that they actually caught 3 persons, and then now they want to transfer them to Enugu, because INEC came out to say, oh, we didn't see any case of vote buying during the election. So why are we saying that we need to work against this before 2027 general elections? But then we saw video. I actually saw a particular video where people received cash and then a certain drink and then snack after voting for maybe their preferred candidate, and then they left the scene. I also saw the picture of a man with a big bag. The bag was opened and I saw loads of cash in the bag. Is this not vote buying? And then the candidate of AAC, that's the party of Omoyole Sowore, that's Chioma Ifemediluke, she came out to say that, she even pointed to some, certain parts of that, area where she voted, to say those persons over there, they are giving out cash to people to vote for their preferred candidate. These people over there, they are giving out cash. So vote buying was the order of the day, for that Anambra election. So now that these 3 people have been, transported to Enugu, we want to know what will happen to them. We need to tackle this, because Anambra election is like a test for Amukuiton. This is his first election, and of course Nigerians are expecting more from him, come 2027. So if he cannot undo vote buying for Anambra, I mean, a lot of persons will question whether he can actually undo the general elections. Of course, we have another election coming up in Osun State, that's 2026. So it's a lot to unpack. So we've seen cases of vote buying, and I think it's going to be very difficult to end vote buying in Nigeria. Why? Because the concept of poverty, weaponized poverty. You see people who collect as low as 3,000 naira just so they can feed. Imagine if you sell your future for 3,000 naira. People collected drinks and snacks that had together. I don't think it's up to 1.5, and then they voted for somebody because of that. It is sad. So before we can actually end vote buying in Nigeria, we must put a stop, or maybe make the economy better for the people. So when people can afford the basic things, it becomes difficult for you to talk them into maybe taking 5,000 naira to vote for somebody. In 2024, that was the last year. I was working. That was during the Ondo State election, and then we saw a particular woman in one of the rural areas. She said that we've collected money and we voted and we're able to cook a pot of soup. And the daughter was trying to give her the eye of, Mama, stop this that you are saying. You can implicate us. But then she said what she said. So it has gotten really bad. So if INEC said no cases of vote buying, but then 3 people were arrested, can they balance it? I mean, yeah.
Also, but let's just take a few comments. Right on to check. Okay, that's the picture of one of the cases.
Yeah, the man I spoke about.
Yes. Yeah. So across these says just 3. They didn't do their job very well. Maybe this is just to say that there's more. This says EFCC intensifying vote buying probes post-election cycle. That's another conversation to talk about. And
Kenneth, you say they should mention their sponsors. Even if they mention their sponsors, are we going to know those people? So we don't release the names, to the public.
I think it's also important that we do what we call voter education. Yes, even as an outfit, as a media outfit. Now, I went into checking the Constitution as to what the offenses and the penalty would be. So if you pay money to any other person for bribery at any election, the penalty is that on conviction to a maximum fine of 500,000 naira or 12 months imprisonment or both. That's according to Section 124, 2010. That's according to the reference.
How effective is that law that you're reading?
You know, that's one. Let me take the other so we can just quickly wrap up on that. So receiving any money or gift for voting or to refrain from voting at any election, attracts a maximum fine of 500,000 naira or imprisonment or 12 months or both, that kind of thing. But again, my question is, why are you saying or? All of these ors is they are the loopholes in the system. So if you say or, so it means the person can pay 500 and go.
See, the or is not even the problem, Manu. The problem is these laws, are they working? This is not the first time that they will arrest
but that's why we need to also educate the populace. That's what we're trying to do by reading out. Some people don't get to know that there's a penalty.
No matter how much you educate them, you see.
I know, but there's so much you can do.
When there is hunger in the belly, it becomes difficult for you to remember laws.
That does not negate education.
Of course, it doesn't
Whether they
negate
take it
education.
is not really our concern. What we are concerned about is that we give this information out to the public. You know that once you engage in vote buying, you buy or you sell. Whichever way, you are culpable under the law. And of course, 500,000 naira or 12 months imprisonment. I'm sure you don't want to serve that time.
And we also must look at the areas of these parties that are sponsoring vote buying. Because if you leave the people who are collecting the money and you don't tackle the sponsors, just like we have said, it becomes counterproductive. That's why we're even talking about insecurity. You arrest the bandits, you kill them, but you don't talk about their sponsors. It's like those issues will still stay. So it won't work at the end of the day. So the political parties, the party agents, I'm very sure that most of them were there on the scene, but they were not arrested. So it's a lot to undo, really.
Yeah,
honestly.
And that's how much you would go. That's how far we'll take today on Daybreak generally today. Thank you very much for joining us. So remember that you have a responsibility to ensuring that Nigeria becomes a great nation. It is mine just as much as it is yours. My name is Anambra. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for being a part of the program. Do well to join us tomorrow, same time, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Please, we all have a responsibility to make this country work. My name is Orayemi Adilakwa. I'm saying good morning.